Hello viewers, today I'd like to talk to you about the worst car ever made, which is of course the original VW Beetle. But don't worry, I haven't got one here to show you. Yes, it's dreadful, but there's no denying that it's also the most interesting car ever made. No other car has such a story to tell over a pint of petrol and a bag of crisps. It began life as an instrument of evil, as a cynical con trick played against the unsuspecting German people by the Nazis. It ended as a darling of the hippie movement and an ambassador for flower power. For everything that happened in between, please see episode 1 of my series, Cars of the People, which is available from Amazon, along with streaming music, next day delivery, and more. Where was I? Oh yes, the original Beetle. It's crap. Unless, that is, you turn it into one of these. This is a beach buggy. And it's mine. Peace and love, brothers and sisters. A beach buggy commends itself in two ways. Firstly, it's a beach buggy, and that's bussing. Secondly, it rids the world of another Beetle, which might otherwise be restored on Richard Hammond's new classic car show and become a blight on society. So that's a win. This is the only old car I own, and most of it is new. I don't really like classic cars, to be honest, but this isn't one, really. It's more of a deeply personal effect that flowered unexpectedly and beautifully in the dustbin of automotive rubbish. By the way, I never actually take it on the beach. I mean, have you seen all the shiny bits that would be corroded by salt? Can you imagine what sand would do to those exposed throttle linkages at the back? I mean, come on. Take my beach buggy on the beach? Are you mad? Don't be wet. I think we're ready for that by the side of the road bit. Actually, let's do it in front of this vineyard. Now, to build a beach buggy, first you have to find an old Beetle, but you throw most of it away. You keep the floor pan, the basics of the engine, a few bits of the suspension and steering and so on. Then you saw the floor pan in half and you remove a bit from the middle and weld it back together. And after that, pretty much anything goes. But in this case, it's a pretty faithful replica of the Bruce Myers original, the Myers Manx. The fiberglass body is a direct copy of the original one. It was built for me for the Namibia Special and then rebuilt again afterwards by Crazy Dave Fisher of Kingfisher Customs in Birmingham and is, as they would say, Boston. At heart, though, it is still a 1950s Beetle. The engine has bigger cylinders and it now has twin carburetors. It makes 100 horsepower, you know. But it's still a Beetle engine. And that's why it makes such a bloody awful racket. It's air-cooled, and fascism approved that. There's a warning from history. Other crap aspects of the Beetle survive in the buggy and are actually exaggerated by it. The steering was always pretty vague, to be honest, but on these big balloon tyres, it's become purely conceptual. Above 60 miles an hour, this thing is positively terrifying. The buggy is even shorter than a Beetle and it's even more tail heavy. So you have to be very careful if you brake late for a bend like this one coming up here because it will lock up like that. The gear change is a bit weird and seems to be in the wrong place. Sometimes I can't find it. And of course, there is no fifth gear because it hadn't been invented yet. Even Werner von Braun couldn't come up with fifth gear. Doesn't stop me going for it though. Oh, not there. There's no roof, there's no heater, there's no boot. But on the other hand, I do look extremely good in it. Now, we can't afford proper music on Drive Tribe, but what I thought we'd do is have a music sequence of me looking very cool in my beach buggy, accompanied by some cheap library tunes that sound marginally better than the engine. Here we go. No, there's no fifth gear. I love this thing. It's impossible to be miserable when you're driving a beach buggy. And I actually gain strength from the joy it brings me. And the joy it brings to all the people who point at it and laugh. The beach buggy is a happy flourish. It's a testimony to the triumph that good will ultimately achieve over evil. A wonderful coda, really, to the most incredible car story in history. And going back to what I was saying at the beginning, what other car has achieved this transformation from icon of oppression to everlasting party on wheels? It's amazing. This car is great, not because of what it does, but because it is a coded message of hope to all humanity. And I have a message for you too, dear viewers. Like, comment, subscribe.